What's up, everyone? So we have some more lore on the Yautja species, but this time it's regarding the audio recordings found in Predator Hunting Grounds. My previous lore video around this game had me going over the main story of the game. While there is no actual story mode, the game did have a reason for the predators being in this jungle. The lore I covered in the other video tells us that the timeline of Predator Hunting Grounds takes place right after the last Predator movie in 2018. The audio recordings in the game give us more backstory. The voice you hear is from Special Agent Sean Keyes, the son of Agent Peter Keyes from the Predator 2 film. These audio recordings give us a lot of lore that answers a bunch of questions. For example, what happened to Dutch after Predator? I covered this topic in 2 previous videos, but now we have more information. Also, what happened to the gear and weapons the City Hunter left behind in the movie Predator 2, like his shoulder cannon, biomask, combi stick, and wrist computer? We can finally get a clear picture of how the story unfolded with various characters. I'm going to read out each audio log. There's a lot to go over, so let's get started. This is Special Agent Sean Keyes, Regional Director of the Otherworldly Lifeform Task Force. The date is February 23, 1996. After accepting this position, the team felt it would be a good idea to start recording my general thoughts for Prosperity. So few people have been exposed to the kind of things I'll be seeing. And to be honest, I'm not sure if that's exciting or terrifying. Regardless, now that I've been fully debriefed, I can get to work investigating this fascinating species. Director Peter Keyes, my father, was part of the OWLF in 1987, when first contact was made with the Predator by a team of highly trained Special Forces soldiers in South America. The Predator was disabled by the last surviving member of the team, triggering a powerful self-destruct mechanism. My father and his team interviewed the survivor extensively, while an OWLF survey team combed the blast area for any evidence. Besides some additional information on the species from the survivor, the team barely found anything to recover. It's been nearly 10 years since first contact, but I hold out hope that this is a sign of things to come. December 3rd, 1996. Things have been moving slowly. I knew this would be difficult. There's finding a needle in a haystack, and then there's finding a needle in 20 haystacks. I've spent most of my time sitting through hundreds of documents and countless data entries, trying to understand the predators, a name my father apparently gave them. After the OWLF made contact with the survivor of the Valverde encounter, Alan Schaefer, they received a wealth of knowledge that helped define how these creatures operate, luring and stalking prey, skinning them, and making trophies of their bones. These are the hallmarks of a sports hunter, not a simple carnivore. Furthermore, when Schaefer was completely disarmed, the Predator removed its own weapons, suggesting a cultural system of honor. After this first encounter, things started to fall into place. Small details and past stories yielded more data in retrospect. From these notes, it looks like we've had multiple documented encounters over the past few years, but nothing that yielded more than stories and other anecdotal evidence. This part in the audio logs seems to match what you will find in the novel of Predator 2. The novels usually expand on smaller details that are left out in the film version. In one part of the story, the novel does say that Peter Keyes interviewed Dutch later on. February 12, 1997. The team here has spent the last few years working on countermeasures and other methods for hunting these hunters. If we can get the jump on one of these bastards and catch it alive, the world would change forever. It's strange that nothing has ever been recovered from a predator encounter. No body, limb, or even a finger has ever been found, although this isn't surprising. The Predator is perfectly designed for covert hunting. We can't see it because it employs advanced light-bending technology that renders it effectively invisible. However, it can see us perfectly through active infrared scanning. We're betrayed by our own natural body heat. Fortunately, the infrared isn't too advanced. Dutch Schaefer was able to evade the predator's sight by covering himself in cool mud. This led the team to develop a bodysuit that similarly masks the wearer's infrared signature. We're still working on ways to counteract the cloaking system, but recent efforts have been encouraging. July 2nd, 1997. It's happening. We've gotten word that a crime scene in Los Angeles reportedly contains hanged, skinned bodies. LA is experiencing a record heat wave, which correlates with data suggesting ambient heat is a factor when predators choose their hunting grounds. I'm convinced we're experiencing a new encounter. The field team boarded a plane hours ago and should be on site before the end of the day. To maintain secrecy, my father and other OWLF agents are going undercover as DEA agents investigating drug trafficking in Los Angeles. Our intent is to capture the city hunter alive. With this goal in mind, we've outfitted the team with infrared suits, nitrogen-based freezing mechanisms, and a broad surveillance package to monitor as much of the city as we can. I shouldn't get my hopes up. This could still be some kind of run-of-the-mill homicidal maniac, but I wouldn't put money on it. Until our team receives confirmation, we're holding back to prep the lab for receiving. The next few days should be interesting. July 8, 1997. I just received positive confirmation from the LA team that there is an active predator, and its hunting ground is downtown Los Angeles. I still haven't fully processed that this is actually happening, but I need to, and fast. The surveillance team has been tracking its movements, developing a consistent pattern on how the alien hunts. The rest of the team has set up a trap at the slaughterhouse in the warehouse district where the predator has been feeding. A helpful bit of information that confirms the hunting is solely for sport and not nutrition. The plan is to deploy countermeasures, then covertly assault the predator using the heat-dampening suits. It's a risky gambit, but with such a limited timetable, we have to take any opportunity we can. I think it's best that we head to LA and establish a mobile lab so we can be ready the second the predator is captured. If this goes to plan, we'll be involved in one of the most momentous moments in human history. July 10th, 1997. It's been several days now since the LA encounter. The director of the OWLF, Peter Jacob Keyes, my father, was killed in the line of duty, attempting to capture the predator codenamed City Hunter. I was in Los Angeles that night, prepping the mobile lab for the capture, only to receive a panicked message from a survivor of the raid. The City Hunter was more prepared than we thought. It managed to kill most of the team inside the slaughterhouse, including my father. It's a dark day for the OWLF. We failed to give mankind proof we're not alone in the universe, while simultaneously letting a threat to our species slip through our grasp. But we have to move forward. While we did fail to capture the City Hunter, we collected an impressive amount of data on it, most significantly an account from Detective Lieutenant Michael Harrigan, who supposedly killed the City Hunter with one of its own weapons. In his statement, he reported that shortly after the City Hunter expired, a host of older aliens appeared. They spared Harrigan, allowing him to leave, taking the City Hunter's body with them. They launched their spaceship into the night sky. We retraced Harrigan's steps based on his testimony. While battling the City Hunter must have had its share of collateral damage. There was little evidence that could be differentiated from the normal gang violence found in Los Angeles. However, in a rather nondescript alley, we did find something that, while not worth the price we paid, will pave the way to making our sacrifices not in vain. It was blood. The undeniably extraterrestrial, bioluminescent green blood of the predator. This itself was a remarkable find, but at the end of the blood trail was the City Hunter's arm. I immediately ordered for the alley to be quarantined should someone wander into the find, but it was too late. Someone was already there. I tried to warn the stranger off with our cover story, but he just laughed from inside the shadows. I reached for my sidearm, but then the stranger lit a cigar. In the sudden bloom of light, I recognized the face of Major Alan Dutch Schaefer. He was older, thinner than the photos we had of him, but it was him. OWLF agents swarmed into the alley, but Dutch did not resist. Did he mean to get caught, or did his curiosity get the better of him? Hard to say. The last known whereabouts of Major Schaefer were in the OWLF custody, shortly after having been interviewed by my father, Special Agent Peter Keyes. This was shortly after the Valverde incident. The last time I heard of Dutch was when he vanished from OWLF custody, after my father had questioned him concerning the events in Valverde, but here he was, in the same place as another Predator attack. In the debriefing, he tells me everything, how he was good friends with my father, and how he had been unofficially let go to help hunt down and find these creatures. They have secretly been keeping tabs with each other over the years, sharing discoveries and leads to different Predator encounters in attempts to stop this threat. After seeing the signs, he too showed up in LA to help track down this city hunter, but limited resources kept him from getting here in time to do anything. The part where it says Dutch vanished from OWLF custody somewhat matches the novel of Predator 2. After Peter Keyes interviewed Dutch about the jungle hunter in Valverde, the novel says Dutch remained in the hospital to recover, but he broke out and disappeared. Peter Keyes was sure Dutch would return someday. Now we learned that Dutch was just hiding and secretly working with Peter Keyes to hunt down more predators. July 11th, 1997. Dutch has been surprisingly helpful to our efforts. He knew my father and was sympathetic about his death. He's offered to help us in exchange for funding a team. Dutch would be our on-site agent for any alien incursion. When he says he knows them, knows how they hunt, I believe him. If Dutch could start bringing back bodies, technology, or even just first-hand accounts, we could make huge advancements. Before he left, Dutch brought out what I had seen briefly in the alley, a collapsible spear. The same one the city hunter used against Harrigan. He wanted to keep it as his down payment. While advanced, the spear was relatively rudimentary. I was reluctant to let it go, but it seemed like a good faith investment, though I doubt I could have stopped him anyway. The good news is that Dutch gave us a fully functioning alien helmet. Easily the better part of the bargain. Besides, the wealth of knowledge the helmet and arm would bring us would alone change the course of history. My father's passing has been difficult, but everything was finally coming together. It seems now that both Dutch and I are in this together, which makes for a strange kind of closure. September 21st, 1997. My father's associate and close friend, Agent Adam Garber, has been chosen to head up the OWLF operations, but has chosen me to help him directly with research and operational efforts. We managed to secure a massive extension to our funding after we presented the helmet and severed Predator arm. After discussing it with Garber, I convinced him to keep Dutch and his crew off the record as much as possible. Dutch can do so much more working alongside us than he ever could working for us officially. Appropriated funds for Dutch and his team have been marked as cleaning services. Studying the arm has revealed so much about Predator physiology, and we are just now scratching the surface of what this helmet can do. There's also a damaged computer still attached to the wrist, which must have been destroyed by whatever severed the arm. It will be a slow process deconstructing, analyzing, and reverse engineering the alien technology, but every discovery will be monumental as we learn more and more from a species so much more advanced than our own. December 1st, 1997, we ran extensive genetic tests on the arm, the results of which could lead to huge medical breakthroughs. It also gives us clues to the atmospheric makeup of their homeworld and how viable it would be to sustain human life, should we ever find a way to get there. Judging by the elasticity of the skin, we're thinking the city hunter was a juvenile of the species. This would line up with Detective Harrigan's account of the LA encounter. With that in mind, one could theorize that its hunt may have been an initiation into adulthood. carbon dating of the bone structure puts the city hunter's age at a minimum of 300 years, which draws into question the lifespan of a predator. If our assumptions are correct, we could be talking upwards to 1,000 years, possibly more. The mask is likely a mundane utilitarian item to the predator, but the technology involved is staggering. Aside from the respirator functions, the visor built into the mask is capable of displaying multiple visual frequencies. This explains how the city hunter found and killed the OWLF team in the slaughterhouse. We assumed they only had access to infrared, but we were clearly wrong. What still confuses me is how with such extraordinary technology, the predators express a seemingly tribal culture. They have such a strong focus on honor, trophies, and worthy opponents, things we left behind as our own species has developed. Is it possible that these technological advances were not developed by the predator species, but instead taken from another? So that ends the first part of this video. We got to cover events from the first and second Predator movie. We now have a much more clear understanding of what happened to Dutch, and who found the technology left behind by the city hunter in the second movie. I'm going to cover the rest of the lore in another video, so make sure you're subscribed to my channel and turn on notifications. This way, you don't miss the video when it's uploaded. The story gets really good, so stay tuned. Before I go, I would like to know your feedback on these details. Do you like how the story is unfolding, or did you prefer that some things remain as a mystery? Tell me in the comments section. The next video will expand on where Dutch fits into the rest of the story and some other predators. If you enjoyed this video, then leave a thumbs up rating. Thanks for watching. My name is Acid Glow, and I'll see you in the next video.